Yesterday, we got our first look at patch 9.14, which delivered some nail-biters. Let's hope that can keep up as we look towards the postseason. Game 1 has playoff hopefuls Optic Gaming and Golden Guardians squaring off. We'll see who comes out on top to close out Week 8. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the LCS Countdown, where for 30 minutes we give you tips on some of the power picks in the meta and test the fans and Jat stats until the timer reaches 0 and we jump into Champions Select. Now, the standings show that CounterLogic Gaming are the second team to lock a spot in the playoffs and their first playoff berth since 2017 summer. We'll see who can join them, though, as TSM and Cloud9 share third at 9 and 6, with Clutch and 100 Thieves sitting just out of playoff positioning at 6 and 9. Now, in the hunt for playoffs, sometimes a player will look to pull out a pocket pick or reveal a tricky mechanic that earns them the win. Then there are the players who use a max distance cross-map ult just to say I'm helping, presented by State Farm. In his game versus Echo Fox, Smoothie uses rank 3 Tom Kenchel to earn TSM a win.
TSM losing members. Apollo, can he get the root? He's gonna try. He gets.
Matt, let's come here. Over here. I'm gonna talk to the base. Yes.
Okay. Are you guys can clear waves?
They have the Baron. Echo Fox could potentially look to end this game. They're pinging for the top lane.
You can't kill this wave. Then it's gonna end with that wave. Just clear it for this. I think it's better.
Okay. They're not tracking it.
They're going for even more right now. So the slow walk.
They're gonna
comes
go
through
for it.
Fox.
They know you're
I already have range, but
yes, if they're not ending, you don't need to do anything.
they're one top.
Only at
They have
least.
ban recall though.
Oh, you can go
Go now.
Pull it.
Forward number one.
They're trying right now.
Nice. Please hunt. Pull it.
Good job, guys. My bad.
Nice. Holy shit, man.
Good shit.
8,500 range dash.
I like how the players themselves were figuring that out in the moment. You heard Smoothie go, oh, wait, we're already in range.
Yeah, they stopped running closer to the
they were
base.
going to keep going to get closer to base. Didn't need to. For more on that play, though, Riv is standing by with a quick patch notes PSA.
Thank you, Dash. And if that play surprised you, don't worry, you are not alone. Even Phoenix was surprised by the result of that game.
I think we definitely messed up mid-game. That game was hella free if we play off our objective, but we did get caught and we lost some team fight. That's why that game went Fiesta. And then I thought we were losing more faster, but TSM played macro battery, so we could have won the game, but we just lost.
And while this situation may seem unfair in the moment, I want to take this moment to remind everyone of an important tool available to pros. These are patch notes, and they outline changes that happen. This is patch 9.9, and this is the change to Abyssal Voyage. See how it has one number here and another number there? You could know that. So remember, read patch notes. It could mean the difference between winning or being eliminated from playoffs. Thank you.
Oh, Riv, you are such a treasure.
You can know that, too.
You know that.
Hey, let's be fair. There's a difference between knowing and having the experience of. Does anyone know 8,500 if I just said that number?
It's almost half the map.
You know what I know? I know it's a big number.
Fair.
And it's bigger than most other numbers in League of Legends, and
Pros don't
therefore would cover a very large distance.
Pros don't have the time to be reading these patch notes and knowing exactly what it means. They have to get bodied by it first and then go back when did this happen? Oh, wait a minute. This is just this
5 whole patches ago this happened. Well, now another champion that has seen changes is Kled. So we are going to send it over to our resident top laner to show us some tricks. My goodness, hardest word in the world to say, on playing the Cantankerous Cavaliers. Hale, take it away, my friend.
Thank you, Dash. Hopefully the tips and tricks will not be as difficult as saying that word. Kled got played 3 times yesterday. It's one of my favorite champs, so I wanted to share with you a couple cool tips and tricks that can be used at any level, all the way from pro to solo queue. So one of the first things I want to talk about is actually, as you're leveling up, you can actually hold on to your W skill point. So the reason that you do this is that it is a passive, so you can't control when it is being used, except for the first time you level it up. Now, the reason you would want to do this is remounting is extremely important on Kled. So essentially, as you're going to get dismounted there, you then immediately would level up your W, allowing you to get a much quicker remount. That can be really powerful for all-ins. That can be really powerful for surviving against jungle ganks as well, and getting that all-critical remount. Next thing I really want to talk about is Joust. Most people know has 2 activations. The one key thing you actually want to use when you're doing with Joust is you want to use your first activation, hold it a little bit, then use your second, because you can actually follow someone who uses flash, a dash, or anything along those lines. Pretty simple. One of the more kind of advanced things you can do with Joust is you can actually follow over some small walls. So since this target dummy can't dash, I'm gonna actually have to be the one to go back over the wall to show this, but I'll Joust on it, flash over the wall, and you can come back. So had they flashed over the wall, you could actually follow them in that way, which is pretty cool. The next thing I wanna kind of talk about here is actually some usage of the ultimate. So we'll go over to the Baron Pit, and I'll give you an example. If I sit over here and I try to ult towards this target dummy, you're gonna have to go all the way actually around that pit. But if you notice, there's a big circle basically that is your ultimate acquisition zone. So if you go right against the wall first, then you ult, you can actually follow people over the wall, which can be quite powerful. You can utilize that to follow someone who flashes over or just as an engaged tool. Now, when you're combining these two tricks together, you can actually pull off some pretty cool things. If someone is dashing over a wall, then flashing over a wall, you can still continue to chase them. So you could do that, and then the next one can be ulted over. So you can actually, go over multiple walls essentially here, utilizing the ult and the second part of the Joust. Another thing that is very important is actually how to tower dive. When you dismount, you reset tower aggro. One of the mistakes I see a lot of people using on Kled is they'll actually target the ultimate wherever they're trying to go, exactly right on the champion, right? So yes, that does hit, but essentially if the person moves a little far back or a little bit to the side, you would actually miss them. The ultimate acquisition zone is actually quite wide, so you can actually, ult quite far back here and fairly far up, and you will still acquire someone who is under the turret. So that gives them much less of a way to actually escape. Essentially, even if they run to the side or flash away, there's no way for them to actually get away from that ult. Another cool thing that you can do here, this is fairly standard, but Q flash for a quicker acquisition. And you can also engage from actually quite far away with an EQ flash. So this person is essentially off my screen. You can EQ flash, even following that up with an ult for really cool little engage tools. You can even just snap the EQ flash, I missed there, unfortunately. But essentially you can do it from very far range and actually be able to get onto someone from really all the way across the screen. So Kled has a lot of really cool things that you can master. I'd also like to give a shout out to Soul Mario. He's a Kled One Trick, streams on Twitch. I learned a lot from him, and there's so much more to learn about this wonderful champion. Check it out if you're interested. That's all from me. Back to you, Dash.
Thank you very much, Azeo. We had a number of Kled performances yesterday. We'll see which other top winners decide to pull it out.
That was so much information that we just got out of that one. I was just ready to keep them coming because
right? You taking notes?
After another.
Also, you can jungle Kled, by the way.
Wait, what?
Don't get dismounted because you can't remount on Jungle Monster.
Off of Jungle Monster.
But it is really fun after you finish your first clear.
All right. Okay, we're gonna have to talk more about that later. I'm curious. We will have 6 chances to see Kled as we look at the schedule for the day. Up first, Optic and Golden Guardians are challenging each other in Game 1 of the day. Then 100 Thieves and TSM square off in Game 2 before the clash at the top. Cloud9 versus Team Liquid. We've got Meteos and Sneaky joining Kobe and Freak on LCS Cooldown for some mysterious burrito-themed game before 100 Thieves Academy versus Golden Guardians Academy in our showcase match at the end of the day. Game 3, though, has Cloud9 looking to prevent a 3-game loss streak as they field Sneaky back into the starting roster.
And that's really important to me because throughout all these shuffles that C9 has gone on, they've lost a couple more games than they wanted to, and now they are really dangerously close to losing their playoff bye. CLG is looking great, and this roster shuffle comes when CLG was looking good.
And I think part of it is also we've heard from Svenskeren in interviews that Sneaky is often the voice that keeps everybody calm under the very high-pressure situations for Cloud9. Yesterday in the match, yes, maybe definitely is a very promising new talent, but he's not going to be able to rally the troops like Sneaky can as a veteran of the team. So when you're going up against a team like Team Liquid, you can expect to perhaps fall behind. And so having a voice that can keep everybody level-headed is going to go a long ways.
Yeah, I think from Cloud9's side, it does make sense for the swap to occur yesterday versus FlyQuest, right? The 9th place team at the time. Yes, they did rack up a loss, but they were trying to do it versus a weaker opponent so they could have some time to figure these things out.
Right, and we had heard directly from Reaper yesterday that they are, experimenting with considerations for the 7-man roster moving into playoffs. But to your point, Mark, there is a sacrifice being made in that exploration around the idea that they could simply lose a playoff bye and then have to play one more best-of-5 to make it to Detroit.
We'll have to see if they keep making experiments because they do famously say that going into Worlds and stuff like that, they don't mind playing through the play-in stage because they like the extra time.
Right.
Maybe that also applies domestically to playoffs.
That's also something you say after you've done it.
Yeah, we wanted that.
That's it right there. Of course, their opponents today, Team Liquid, very strong team, already locked a playoff spot, still searching to secure their bye themselves. But this is a team that has shown us, while being quite strong, they can win from behind and had to do so just yesterday.
Yeah, well, they were able to always rely on Impact. Impact is the most reliable top laner we have, and when he gets away with picking champions like Aatrox, which are crazy busted right now, then it makes for a very wonderful comeback.
Yeah, and I think it's cool to see how confident they are. You know, Doublelift is always very confident in his interviews, but especially even when they do, have to be put in these situations where they're coming back and losing games.
All right, we'll see that matchup and how it shakes out in Game 3. But for now, we're taking a quick break. When we return, the fans get a crack at JatStats. Good luck. Welcome back to the LCS Countdown, where we're gearing up for Game 1 in not too long. Not very often you see 5 people on this desk, but and we'll get back to this in just a moment. Before we have our chance at JatStats, Jat went out to the crowd and tested their wit. So let's see how they fared.
All right, I'm joined in the parking lot by some fans for a fan edition of JatStats. This top laner is the only top laner to start every game and not participate in any First Bloods. And the hint is, he has the best laning stats in the league with a plus 15 CS difference at 15.
Would it be Impact by any chance, or?
No, but I'll give you another guess.
Broken Blade. Broken Blade, perhaps?
So you're close. This player used to be on that team.
Hanser.
There it is, Hanser. Good job. This champion is 6-0, which is the most wins for an undefeated champ in the summer split. Can you guess which champion this is?
Silas?
Not quite. So this champion is usually played in the mid lane, and I believe was played once top.
Who would it be? Aatrox?
Close. Yeah. It's Victor, actually, this game, yeah. One question per fan, so here's one for you. This team has the most Baron kills in the LCS. They have 14 Baron kills across 15 games. You got a few guesses. Which team do you think this is?
Well, my shirt has to say Team Liquid, so I'm gonna guess Team Liquid first.
Hard to say Team Liquid. Really dominant, so.
Good guess, they were second.
Cloud9.
Not quite. Last one.
TSM.
There it is. Only perfect stats. Fans know everything. Back to the desk.
Not so easy.
We got a bunch of those right.
Not so easy.
Where's the video evidence?
Yeah, exactly.
Were we rolling?
There's no
We were not recording
no one
any of
can
that.
verify whether or not you got any of those correct. It is now time, though, for me to hand it over to the host of the #1 countdown game. Wait, that should just say the only countdown game show. But whatever, here it is, Jack.
You haven't done any other game shows other than stats?
I guess this is it.
If you watch the cooldown, we do
Lots of game shows. Yeah, watch out for that. Okay, so that was the warm-up. I do want to appreciate you guys for how quality you are at JatStats sometimes, because sometimes these questions are hard.
That felt like a very forced compliment.
Yeah.
Did the producers ask
one,
to build us
Dan's
up?
got the
before-
Baron question. You guys get the Dragon question. So which LCS team has the most Dragon kills this split?
Ooh.
I'm tempted to say TL because they've won a lot and they have a strong bot lane.
I would be tempted by TL as well because they generally control dragons decently. And then, as you mentioned on the Baron question, they only usually take one Baron to end it. But I think their Drake control is usually pretty strong.
I'm going to say TSM again.
I like longer games, though.
I'm going to give you general JatStats
randomly
hint.
CLG.
Usually, the first answer that would pop in your head isn't the answer.
exactly.
Otherwise, I wouldn't make it a question.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go CLG. Yeah, I'm going to go CLG.
CLG.
It's CLG.
So easy.
Yeah, all right.
Wait,
more people, more brains working
Yeah.
together. All right, question 2. Which champion has won the most games this split in the LCS? And I'll give you a hint. It's won 20 games and has a 71% win rate.
Champion
This
has
summer split.
won the most games this
Can we
summer.
get another
Yumi
hint?
played that many
What
games?
role? What role?
No.
You want another hint?
Yeah, just what role?
It's been played in multiple roles.
So not Yumi, for sure now. But
Lux was interesting as a
I feel like we haven't seen a
potential.
call in forever. Silas
know
is
Lux's
one
win
I
rate.
could think of. Sejuani would be another.
So Lux is
win rate,
at
though. That's not
60s. Lux is like at 67, 69%.
We got to make guesses. We got to make guesses.
You gotta calm down.
I'm gonna go with something like Sedge. I'm gonna go with Sedge.
Lux.
I'll say Azir.
Akali.
Oh, Azir's in. Oh, or is Corky?
It was Lux.
It was Lux.
Yeah!
It was Lux.
Just took your answers.
You had it.
I saw this.
It
It was 70.
As soon as you said that, I was like, it's probably not right.
The stat yesterday was stop 70%.
Okay, because we want to
Dude.
follow your heart this time,
didn't.
Clark.
All right.
Did they not?
It wasn't
This
played yesterday.
player
Right.
has the highest damage per minute difference in the mid lane this split. So for the fans out there, there's damage per minute, then there's damage per minute for the guy you're playing against. And just every game, this player's much better than that.
Could it be like a
Who's
negative difference
dumpstering
or a
his lane
positive
opponent
positive difference?
every
This is a
single
positive
time?
Uh,
Froggen. Froggen.
I really like
Froggen.
Froggen. I'm just jumping.
Although
on the Froggen train.
by Jat's rule,
Yeah, but I don't care.
by Jat's rule, I
going
should go to my next guess.
I think Niski or Jensen.
Oh, Niski, I think is a good one too.
Vhagar has a
I do think
ton.
Niski is a good call. I'm gonna stick
going
with
for Niski.
Froggen. I'm gonna stick with Froggen.
I changed Jensen.
Oh, you're still waiting on me? I'll
going
change
Jensen.
Jensen. Yeah,
Okay,
Jensen.
it's Power of Evil. You guys weren't even close.
Yeah. What was that? It was
How is
Froggen?
that not close? But Aatrox is close to Victor, Jet?
I don't need to be
The only thing I took away from all of this
Kobe doesn't
today
like
is
when you're
that
not
Jat
nice to
thinks
him.
Aatrox and Victor are similar champions.
Close.
Quick reminder that tickets for the summer finals presented by Rocket Mortgage are on sale. So reserve your spot at the Little Caesars Arena for an entire weekend of action, which includes the State Farm Summer Finals Cosplay Contest, where 5 talented cosplayers will be flown out to experience the finals weekend in Detroit. Cosplayers will compete for a round-trip ticket to the 2019 World Championship Finals for them and one friend, as well as a cash prize of $5,000. Learn more at riot.com/finals cosplay. With that, though, we got to step away for just a moment. When we return, we look at Game 1, Optic versus Golden Guardians. You're watching the LCS Countdown. Welcome back to the LCS Countdown, where we're not too far away from Game 1 of the day. Ahead of this match, though, today, Coach Zabutin recapped the Team Liquid loss and his takeaways from that match.
So obviously the first goal of Optic for this split is to clinch playoffs, be able to play on series, because if you look at even the past years, everything has reset during the playoffs. It's just the team who's the best on the patch, the team that's the most prepared. I think that we have shown like a significant improvement within the last 2 weeks. So we are more on the rise than anything else. So clinching playoff will allow us to actually play a little bit more and just try to reach our final form as a team for this summer split and see where we can go. From that, anything can happen. So this is the magic of playoff.
Now, Game 1 has 2 teams close in the standings and could mean the difference between hitting or missing playoffs.
Yeah, and yesterday I thought that Optic's loss over Team Liquid was really good. I gave that more value than the Golden Guardians' victory over 100 Thieves because Optic came out swinging. They went to fight Team Liquid's bottom lane, the most powerful and dominant bottom lane we have in the LCS. They succeeded in doing so. They found team fight after team fight. Crown was popping off, and it really was until the very end where they took a terrible 4v5 fight that they lost the game. So I think that they really approached the game properly, and that gives me a lot of hope for identifying how to beat Golden Guardians today and executing on it.
Meanwhile, the Golden Guardians won their game. They did not make the big mistake, by the way. I thought they were so convincing, and a big part of it also to me was confidence in the bottom lane. I had been very worried about FBI and Huhi, kind of inconsistent results, a lot of jungle pressure, but in that game, they absorbed a lot of pressure early on, Ezreal, Braum, and then the early QSS buy and the activation to turn around the key team fight in mid lane by FBI. He disengages and then Huhi re-engages. They basically win the game off of that team fight, and having the bottom lane play that well for Golden Guardians allows their solo laners more freedom to take.
It is pretty easy to win if your Skarner's flashing into the Ezreal QSS. Like, okay, we'll take these.
But I do agree with Kobe's last point because both of these teams have had inconsistency in their bot lane over the course of the year, and it's been about other people carrying Froggen and Crown and Meteos and Hanser, respectively, kind of being the highlights. And when the bot side starts playing well, it frees up those other pieces because you don't have to either babysit them or worry about them being behind. If they are able to go even and absorb pressure or generate their own leads.
Right. So often we talk about, the elimination of mistakes or the weak points of the map and how you can cover for those. And for Optic, it's so long been about how Meteos and Crown can get out and affect the side lanes. But with the bot lane stepping up, it really feels like they have another lane that they can flex around. If we say that, should also acknowledge Dokla. Again, the Aatrox performances from last week. And then on the side of Golden Guardians, long have we, lauded the two solo laners here in Summer Split. And it's been about the rest of the team kind of stepping up around those two, Hanser and Froggen.
And they now have a great pick for Hanser, the Tristana. I really think that they're going to continue to play that and find success, and many more will play that, and then we're going to get really sick of it very quickly, too.
I don't know. I wasn't that convinced by it. I still like some of his other picks a lot more.
All right, well, ahead of that match in just 4.5 minutes, I want to get some win conditions on the board. Kobe, you were charged with Golden Guardians, so how do they do it?
And one of my win conditions does revolve around Hanser. I want to see them spend some resources to support Hanser because he has been so good. I want that in draft phase. I also want it in game. I believe they have the choice. They can have red side if they choose, so they can save your last counter pick for top lane. That's the case where you do get to bring out the Tristana or something else as a counter pick. Dokla typically plays Poppy or Aatrox, and those are the things you have to worry about. Other than that, I want their bottom lane to be cognizant of Meteos, because Meteos has been an outstanding jungler, and Contracts is going to have his hands full.
All right, Crumbs, you get Optic. You gave them the game plan yesterday. They nearly executed on it to take down Team Liquid, fell just short. What do you want to see them workshop today?
I think I'm completely fine with the exact same game plan.
Okay.
You go into it, you give the solo lane strong picks, so you've got the Corki and the Poppy. I think that you can run that again. For the most part, people are blind picking Corki, Azir, the same thing. And then as long as you give Meteos a champion with a lot of agency in the jungle, like Jarvan or Sejuani, he's going to be able to go down into the jungle. Remember last time these guys played? He basically counter-jungled counter-ganked him a million times, won the game through the bottom lane. I think you can do that again here, expect a lot of action down there, and I think Meteos will triumph over Contract.
Well, with these win conditions in mind, let's go ahead and take a look at predictions for the day, where you guys are actually throwing your votes when it comes to some very tough matchups to call, in my opinion, but you largely align. It looks like the only difference here falls in game 2 of the day, the 100 Thieves prediction over TSM for Mark Z. I think a couple weeks ago, people would have called you crazy for this.
I think people still might.
They might still, but I think the reality is that this is a much closer matchup. And I'll be honest, we've been going a little too easy on you in recent weeks. So once again, we're going to make sure that you've got some skin in the game with our weekly wager. It will be in that second game of the day. For that game, the rules are simple. If you predict like a clown, Avali is going to make you look like a clown.
Nice. I'm glad I get to be here for another bet.
Kobe,
are you even going to be on the desk for that?
Just come on.
If he's wrong,
I'm down.
You might escape just.
Or we can make him
virtue
pass like a clown,
of,
like he had to.
There you go.
That
Pass
one
like
time.
a clown. I like it. I like it. So. Are you feeling, how confident are you in your 100
Not very.
prediction?
I'm not feeling confident in the TSM one either.
Right,
that game was a fiesta.
Hey, Mark bought TSM stock, so I'm surprised that you decided to predict TSM to win. We know that when Mark buys stock, that stock plummets.
They almost lost to EchoFox because I bought their stock.
Exactly.
Yesterday was definitely scary for TSM, right?
Well, last week, too, the Golden Guardians game, they felt like nobody won that, too. 2 games now.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's really the problem for me, like, for a serious moment, is they don't seem to have a clear game plan like they had in spring when they looked so good. And it was like solo laners with good flex picks and Acadians camping top for the most part. They don't camp and snowball top that well anymore. Their bot lane can make a lot of mistakes, and Bjergsen hasn't been as impactful as he was in the first half of the split. So they do seem to be struggling really hard on their identity, which is something they've been trying to expand upon since Rift Rivals.
Well, that's the second game of the day. First, we got to watch Optic and Golden Guardians go at it, looking for that playoff spot. So with it, we're going to throw it out to the Battle Arena for the call.
Thank you very much, Dash. Welcome to the Battle Arena. I am Freak. That is Azael. We've got an exciting game in our hands in about 1 minute and 1 second's time.
That's true.
That is true. You are still Azael. That's also true.
Still true.
Still true. You were in Canada recently.
True.
I am on a roll so far, and we have a game in front of us. That is rude of you to say. Optic Gaming could potentially lock their playoff position today. It requires help from other teams. It includes a win here as well, but they are on the cusp of making that push.
Yeah, and that's absolutely massive for Optic. You know, to be able to get to playoffs, that certainly is the big goal for them. You know, they did miss out in spring just barely. They were actually the first team, I do believe, with 9 wins to not make playoffs.
Yeah.
So a disappointing result for them in spring, but on the cusp of doing so here in summer. And Golden Guardians, likewise, fighting for one of those final playoff positions. You know, their competition is certainly hoping that they will lose this game, but they really do want to start picking up these wins.
Yeah, even Coach Anero back in action here with GGS as well. He had been out for some time, and
that's a cute baby.
We've got babies. We've got exciting stuff afoot here. As